Hello, I'm Stelios, and today I want to talk about something I find really interesting, which is how should be brands in the financial services be changing their online content and their online presence to get more traffic from ChatGPT. Now, first of all, why is this important and why is it interesting? Well, why is it important? It's important because ChatGPT has 700 million monthly active users. It'll probably be a billion by the end of the year. Gemini is on 450 million monthly active users. And what brands should be thinking is how can I get as big a slice as I can from those 700 million monthly active users every month in my domain? Now, why is this interesting? Why is this an interesting problem to think about? Well, let's think a bit about how ChatGPT is changing people's interaction with the web. So, what's happening right now is that LLMs um, are effectively agentic reasoners. They've stopped being what people called fancy autocompletes for a while now. And what does being an agentic reasoner mean? It means that, and let's take this example throughout the video. Let's say I am researching on how to buy a home. I don't know much about the mortgage process, but I'm keen to understand it. And I'm sharing lots of information about myself. I'm sharing about my plans in the future. Maybe I'm even sharing some of my documents, my bank statements to get some feedback. Um, and what ChatGPT is doing with this information, first of all, it's reasoning about this. So it's and that might not always be visible to the user. It's thinking about these things and using the web to get relevant information in its process of reasoning. So, as an example, ChatGPT at some point might go best brokers for for first-time buyers. It might write that Google search query itself, ping Google, get back the results, and present them back to the user. And then sometimes it might even refer the user, suggest that the user reaches out to the website. So this means that effectively brands should be thinking about ChatGPT in two ways. They should be thinking of ChatGPT as a referrer, as somebody who will get them business and that will get them traffic. And secondly, it should be thinking about the agent as somebody who's consuming their website. So they should be thinking of their website not as something that only humans will read, but as something that an LLM agent will read. And so, based on all of that, what can brands do to get more traffic? I think there are three things that brands can do straight away. Thing number one is thinking and trying to see what traffic ChatGPT is already sending them. So if you're on Google Analytics, you can go and see what pages actually is ChatGPT referring users to. And let's say if ChatGPT is referring lots of users onto a page around what is LTV, then there is clearly demand on this type of content and on surrounding areas. So you should double down on that and write more content in that area. Now, if ChatGPT is not bringing you any traffic, then what would be really useful is to actually spend time yourself in being in the place of somebody who's using ChatGPT for research and see where your website comes up. Um, so that's action number one. Action number two, what else can you do? Well, as we said earlier, you should be thinking of your website as something that an agent consumes. So an agent won't find a fancy animation, won't find a fancy video relevant I'm not saying that you should take them off your website. They will not find clickbait relevant. What they will find is useful, analytical type of content that's relevant for the search query. So action number one, understand how users are using ChatGPT, how ChatGPT is referring users to you, and then think about the content and write content that's useful for the agents rather than the users directly. And finally, action three, you should be thinking of the traffic that you're getting from ChatGPT as existing in the context of a conversation earlier on. So in the example I gave earlier, imagine that I've been talking to ChatGPT maybe for days and we have a massive conversation. So it knows lots of information about me. And then that means that ChatGPT comes to your website in the context of a hyper-personalized conversation. So what would be useful to be thinking about is, let's say I'm a mortgage broker. Who are my services for? Do I have success stories with first-time buyers? Do I have success stories with foreign nationals? Do I have success stories with couples looking to remortgage? Because this is something that normally you wouldn't be doing so far, but right now this is something that you should be adding to your website, because having those case studies, having those success stories, having the types of people that you're working with and are best suited for your services or your product is extra information for ChatGPT to direct that traffic to you in the context of those hyper-personalized conversations. And these are three things that I think you should be doing to get more traffic from ChatGPT. And if you're finding this type of content interesting, this is something that we're actively looking in at MQube. We're using ourselves. So if you find that interesting, let us know and we'll be doing more content.